Breaking news out of Cape Town. Remember, we crossed to Vanessa Poonah earlier on with regards to some clashes or standoff, rather, between police and foreign nationals. Let's get the very latest there. Vanessa Poonah, what are you witnessing? All right, it seems that we don't have Vanessa quite on the line, but you can see these clashes now between foreign nationals and we assume it's foreign nationals and the police. Vanessa Poonah was talking about them earlier, saying that they want to go. And the understanding was that they want to be resettled in other countries because of certain hostility and animus here in South Africa, alleged animus, as we put it. So, as you can see, some scenes of commotion there, police trying to, I guess, get a grip, get purchase on the situation. We're told that these foreign nationals have been camping out, protesting there for several days now. Vanessa Poonah is on the line for us. Vanessa, what are you witnessing there?
Yes, a very warm good afternoon to you. At the moment, the police have just let off a number of stun grenades after they have given the foreign nationals and refugees camping outside the Waldorf Arcade a time period to disperse before they take action. Stun grenades having been let off. And if I can show you at the moment, a number of people are clashing with police and law enforcement officials. At the moment, behind us, you'll see some of the action. People being taken, people being arrested, people being dragged out of the way because they have been given time to disperse. Of course, they have been camping out the Waldorf Arcade. At the moment, just behind us also, you'll see that it seems to be bricks flying in retaliation as those that have been calling for them to be removed from South Africa. They have been calling for that process to be expedited. And at the moment, a very tense standoff here as members of police as well as law enforcement officials are executing what they have been telling the people gathered that they should disperse. I understand they were given a half an hour to do so. There has been a countdown, and at this moment of time, some women crying at the moment. Women are saying that their children are being taken away from them, and this, of course, the lady right here asking why. They are saying that they want to be moved from South Africa. A woman here just telling us, you are very unhappy, ma'am.
We're not happy. We have to go to this country. We don't need any of their houses. We don't need any of their papers. We want to go. All we want is a safe place. All we want is a safe place. We don't want to go anywhere. We need our rights.
Two kids are inside. I have two kids inside there. But they are coming with this. We were already win the case in the court, but they have decided to use power.
So, of course, speaking to some of the people here, some of the women in particular, saying that they have their children with them, and their concern at this point in time is, of course, that they are fearing for their children's safety. Many of these foreign nationals, as well as refugees that have been here in our country for quite a while, saying that they have been living here for years and they are continuously being victimized. Some of them also saying it happens within communities, but also that it happens with their businesses that are often targets when it comes to that kind of violence. Of course, you'll see just behind me, there seems to be a bit of a scuffle as the entrance to the Waldorf Arcade at this point in time. There's quite a number of law enforcement as well as police officials. We're trying to make our way there now. At the moment, you'll see the entire length of the arcade littered and strewn with personal belongings as a number of people have been here for quite a number of weeks, and earlier on telling us that they are adamant that they would not move because all they want to do is to leave South Africa. So we are bringing you live visuals from Cape Town at the moment where police action, members of Metro Police as well as law enforcement officials are trying to disperse numbers of these people, refugees, some of them foreign nationals that have all their belongings here, belongings such as blankets, clothing, as well as pots and other household artifacts. They have it at the moment. Another, what seems to be an arrest as someone is dragged away amid ongoing scenes here in Cape Town of clashes as the removal of these foreign nationals continues here in Cape Town at this hour.
Vanessa, tell us more about those that are protesting there. We've seen mothers with babies on their backs. Are elderly folk involved here as well? And in terms of these clashes between police, we saw police, well, literally carrying people away. Any serious injuries that you have witnessed?
At this point in time, I can tell you that these people that have been stationed outside the wall have been telling us it's not a protest. They're adamant that it's just a sit-in. It has been happening for quite a number of days. With certain there's been any injuries here today, because I haven't seen any. What I have seen is indeed, as the picture you'll get right now, is of stun grenades going off, people being arrested. We have seen women and children, some women speaking to us just now, telling us, pleading, crying, saying that their children's lives are in danger. And of course, at the moment as well, we also see the remnants of those who refuse to move, despite the fact that they have been given warning to do so. Mothers holding on to their children as well. That's a picture that you're seeing right there, a mother holding on to a child. And of course, many of these scenes happening across Cape Town at this point in time. We're following some people taken by the police. It appears as though they are being arrested. These are the visuals that you are getting on camera at the moment. The gentleman was taken out of the Waldorf Arcade. Of course, the officers of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees here in Cape Town, and we're staying with us visuals at this moment. And this gentleman would also have been part of a large number of people that had gathered here with their call for all the agencies involved, as well as South African government, as well as the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, calling for them to be moved to other countries. And of course, there have been citing violence.
We are dying in South Africa here. And the way they are doing, we are not happy. They're supposed to take them in peacefully so that they can go. We are dying.
Just some of the calls there from women that are saying that they are dying in South Africa and asking, of course, for them to be moved. We've just seen at the moment the visuals we're bringing you, of course, is what appears to be a mother with more than one young child, crying children at the moment, being taken by police as well as law enforcement authorities as the clashes continue outside the Waldorf Arcade. Of course, you'll see quite a number of people, standers by, also having a look to see what has been happening. But it's definitely been a tough morning. Some of the foreign nationals with their children at the moment, you'll see quite a number of people still being arrested at this point in time. People have been taken into various police as well as other law enforcement official vans that have been on standby since the call first came for the disbursement of the crowds here, and the roads lined with people that are having a look-see. In terms of what has been happening behind me as well. I don't know if we can get a close visual for you. Of course, one of the gentlemen that has been arrested, he's in the back of a police van at this point in time, not saying much but looking rather distressed as the action continues here in Cape Town, on the streets of Cape Town. And of course, at this point in time, still quite a large number. I'm just walking to the scene, or to the spot, the entrance to the Waldorf Arcade. Of course, this is where a short while ago the standoff with police as well as law enforcement officials took place, and still a number of people, although they have been pushed back at this point in time, quite a number of people still gathered. A lady still sitting, if I can show you, we'll take you across the road here. A woman with a child still sitting in the middle of the roadside, weeping, holding onto a young child. Of course, you'll see personal artifacts that have been strewn across the roadway. This lady definitely adamant that she is not going to go. And we have seen for the past while or so, a number of men, women, families as well. Families being taken, another gentleman being escorted by police with two children in his arms. And those are the kind of scenes that has been taking place outside the offices here of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Of course, a very emotive picture that we're bringing to you at the moment of a lone woman with her young child sitting, not saying much, holding on to a young child, of course, as the removal continues, and of course little scuffles breaking out across this area here as another woman is being arrested. And I can tell you that police have now managed to push back quite a sizable number of people. But at this point in time, behind me, of course, you'll see that there are still quite a large group that have gathered. Of course, police are at this point in time moving people. Well-known activist Zaki Ahmad also being told by the police to move at this point in time.
You guys are treating the people violently. It's not right. It's absolutely not right.
This is a court order. This is a court order.
A court order is not just. It's an unjust court order. They could have gotten the UN Human Rights Commission to get people support. It's not right.
But look at all the children. You told me you are getting the children there. Now you are here engaging the police, disturbing the police.
Their children being dragged. Their children being dragged here.
You're going to end up being arrested now.
If you arrest me, that's fine. You can arrest me.
Well-known activist Zaki Ahmad there having a word with police, saying that even though they may be executing a court order, the court order at this point is unjust, according to Zaki, saying that young women and young children are being manhandled, saying that there was a different options to have been exercised. And at this point in time, still a number of foreign nationals as well as refugees, those that have been camping out outside the Waldorf Centre, of course, having been pushed back quite a bit as discussions between police as well as Metro law enforcement officials continue. And at this point in time, we know that quite a number of arrests. We don't know how many at this point in time, because we still see quite a number of people being taken away by authorities as we speak, and being put into the police vans at the back of this water cannon. Also loud cries as people are being removed and taken away from the Waldorf Arcade here in Cape Town.
Yeah, it's emotional scenes out of Cape Town. If you just joined us, breaking news, there's the standoff between police and foreign nationals. And Vanessa, I mean, some would say disturbing visuals that we're getting, especially when you consider these babies, these young children that are caught up in this commotion. Take us back moments ago. And in relation to this court order, what was the police's request and how did the crowds react?
Look, when we arrived here this morning, that was before any kind of police action had taken place. We spoke to some of these refugees and foreign nationals that have been camping out here. And the situation at this point is that police arrived with a water cannon, with their reinforcements, giving the people that have been sitting in here a number of time. They counted down, I think, from a half an hour to a minute, warning them to disperse before stun grenades were let off. And once that happened, of course, as you'll see right now on camera, is that there have been a number of people arrested, among them women, among them children, people losing their artifacts, people losing their clothing. Some of them have come here with everything they own, including blankets, including their pots for food. They have been outside the offices here in Cape Town for a number of weeks, and just before this police action, they were adamant that they would not move. And now, as I'm trying to count how many arrests, but it's quite difficult, there are a number of people you'll see within the police vans with a message.
We're going to leave this country. Until we leave this country, we don't care about anything. We need our rights. We really need our rights. We are really unsafe in this country. That's why we want to leave this country. So now they come and arrest us because we want our rights. We need our rights. Yes, God bless you.
Of course, just some of the people there that have been arrested in the police vans behind us, saying that they are being victimized because all they're asking for is to leave South Africa. When I spoke to some of the community leaders earlier on, I asked whether indeed they want to go to any specific country, to any specific place. One of the gentlemen telling us that at this point in time, all they want to do is to have a safe environment, a safe area, a safe community for their children. Some of them telling us that they are being treated inhumanely by members of the South African police saying that when they are indeed targets, when it comes to violence that breaks out within communities, police are reluctant to appear. And now they're telling us with this court order, police are indeed coming out and arresting them. And of course, some scenes earlier on of young children, of women being dragged along the street. Some activists, we just seen Zaki Ahmad a short while ago having strong words with police, who also then threatened to arrest him if he does not move, saying that there should have been other options available rather than to drag women and children into the streets. At this moment in time, just another message on the police loudhailer, asking people that have been pushed back to indeed move back even further. And I can see some people moving off. The message to disperse right now, of course, coming on the loudhailer, and we do see some movement as people who had gathered here are indeed moving out of shot. The shot that we are showing you at this moment in time is, of course, the entrance to the Waldorf Arcade. This building houses the offices of the United Nations Commissioner for Refugees, and of course the thoroughway where you'll see blankets littered, you'll see personal belongings scattered all over the show, as well as the people trying to salvage their possessions as action continues here inside the arcade as well. Another person arrested. If you'll see
my kid 2 years.
A gentleman there just saying that he has, I think he says he has lost his child 2 years. But yes, indeed, very, very, very busy scenes happening. We are just being asked by Metro Police and other officials to move outside of this space. They're asking us to allow them to work. We, of course, will continue bringing you as many visuals as we can and continuously bringing you live updates. Of course, the water cannon just moving in at this point in time. The water cannon had been stationed there for quite a while. It has not yet been used because when the stun grenades were first fired, of course, some of the people arrested, others having moved off, and now it appears as though the police may be readying to use this water cannon to further disperse these foreign nationals that are asking for all the relevant authorities as well as organizations to move them out of South Africa.
Vanessa, we just caught a glimpse of one of the banners there saying that South Africa, you are killing refugees. From your knowledge, Vanessa, do we know that the people there have been granted refugee status? Granted that it's very difficult to say that all the people that are protesting there have been granted, but what's the sense that you're getting?
Look, the sense I'm getting is that some of the people here certainly do have refugee status. One gentleman holding up a bunch of papers in his hand. It is very difficult to ascertain at this point in time whether everybody that had gathered here are indeed officially refugees in South Africa. But many of them saying that even though they are refugees, or even though they aren't, they're still not being allowed to leave the borders of South Africa. And this being their main gripe at this point in time, as this action continues here behind us, families that have been torn apart. I see a young girl crying, certainly in distress at this moment in time, as their parents as well as mothers sit with them, not knowing what to expect for the rest of the day, as some of them would have been arrested, some family members, certainly some community members would have been taken in. And this issue, of course, ongoing for quite a number of weeks, as they have been camping out, not just here in Cape Town, but also in other parts, as these foreign nationals are asking to be moved from South Africa, asking really in essence to be allowed to move out of a country which, as you've said, the banner that we're reading here says South Africa, you're killing refugees, and that seems to be the sentiment indeed from those that had gathered here. Some of them saying that not only are they being physically attacked, but also that their businesses are suffering because often their businesses become targets when protests break out. And that, of course, at the moment is the situation on the ground here in Cape Town, as a water cannon behind me has just moved forward. Quite a number of law enforcement officers as well as police having moved in, a number of arrests having taken place. And at the moment in time, if I can just ask my cameraman to show you, there is quite a large number of foreign nationals. My colleague Corbin just showing us some of the visuals here. Of course, this is the group that have remained after some of them have been taken in by police. women scurrying off carrying blankets, some people saying that, of course, at this point in time, they are being targeted. And there goes the water cannon. We've just seen a burst from that cannon. We will show you, we'll bring you live pictures as the action to disperse the number of people here outside the walls of Arcade is, of course, continuing at this hour.
Vanessa, we want to stay with you to see how this develops, but I just want to get a sense. Look, if they are indeed asylum seekers, they have left their country of birth for a particular reason. That's why they are here or regarded as refugees. The request, I understand, is that they want to be resettled in other countries that will have them. Talk to us about any reaction from the UN Commission for Refugees. Have they reacted? Because I understand that the foreign nationals have been camping out there for several weeks now.
Yes, indeed. We've tried to make contact with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugee spokesperson based in Pretoria. We haven't had an opportunity yet to speak with her, with the spokesperson, but we understand in previous engagements it has been said that the process of relocating, of moving people is a long and arduous one, and I'm not quite certain where indeed at this point in time that process is, but I do know that engagements have been ongoing. There have been engagements with that office as well as bodies of the refugee community. So it's difficult for me to give you a conclusive idea at this point in time as to where exactly those talks are. But that indeed is the call by these refugees, people who have in essence, they basically fled home countries, fled hometowns, indeed coming to seek a life for their families, for their children, and once again saying that here in South Africa at the moment, this does not seem to be the ideal place for them to be relocated to.
Right, Vanessa, we'll leave it there for now. Come back to us, get in my ear. We'll put you on air with regards to the very latest and developments from Cape Town. This clashes between foreign nationals and police. Police are trying to disperse the protesters there. They've been camping outside of the United Nations High Commission for Refugees for several weeks now, demanding that they be resettled in other countries. Remember, if they are indeed asylum seekers, given the refugee status, they don't want to necessarily go back to their own country because they left there for a particular reason. So they want to be resettled in other countries, countries that will have them. So that's the breaking news out of Cape Town.